What's up, hackers? Finally starting the stream. How's everyone doing? We got me and Monty right now.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Alright, so today's just supposed to be a real chill stream, so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess where to start. Start off with any funny stories, anything we got going on?
Oh man.
So now there's one that we've been aching to tell for a little while.
Oh yeah, we could definitely tell the story about
We
this
can
dude's
tell the
app.
story.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, so let's just maintain sparse names and everything. Alias will probably be better.
Yeah, we'll go with alias size.
Okay, so if you want to start it off, by all means.
Yeah, I guess I could start it off.
I mean, you kind of the start of the whole project that led to our little discovery and fun evening of debauchery. So.
Yeah. All right. So, cool. So I guess a while back, a friend and I kind of started I guess, an educational application, right? So we're basically going to make an app that was going to be some sort of education resource for students because we created this during the pandemic where a lot of educational resources for students were kind of taken down, cut down, or raised the prices for them so they became a lot more expensive. So the original idea was like, hey, let's make a free and open source application that people and students can use as a way to kind of benefit their educational sources because again they're all being taken down, whatever. So I guess, hey, let's just build our own. So we go ahead and start making this app in Python, and yeah, okay. So yeah, we started making the app. My friend Matzi here joins in on the server and sees that we're working on this app, and he's like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Willing to do some, pen test on it and stuff." And
I think that came a little later.
That came a little
the first
later.
thing that I was more interested in was the Linux stuff that you guys were.
That's right. Yeah. So we wanted to make it available for Windows, Mac, and Linux because it was Python based, so it wouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, okay. So you came in for the Linux stuff, and
so I came in specifically around the installer period. We're looking
the installer
at it.
period.
I know there was already talk of trying to get the installer, but
yeah. So because of my, I guess, malware dev background, I was better at making the actual installer for the applications and such. So that's what I worked on. I also did a lot of the back end for the app, and then my friend did the. Should we get like an alias for him, or should we just like?
Let's just refer to him as Underground for now, I guess, since that's what he normally goes by anyways.
Cool. All right, yeah. So, so basically he is doing like the front end, and one day he like makes a website for it, which was kind of threw me off because this was just going to be like a GitHub thing. But hey, I mean, if you want to pay however much money for a domain every month, then that's all you. When you could just do like the GitHub IO thing or whatever. But even still, I kind of stepped off for the project after a while because it kind of was turning to something that I didn't want to be, I guess, doing. I kind of lost that spark for it, and my original intentions for the application kind of changed. Or not changed, but the app became something that I didn't want it to be because there was talk about monetization and such, and I was like, yeah, I was more of the free and open source stuff, but that's cool.
Took kind of a life of its own in a way that it didn't make sense to carry on that way. It was kind of just meant to be a short term, let's do a project, something to put on GitHub for people to see, proof of concepts, and one day it could even maybe be used for those who discover it, but it was never meant to be a bigger monetized project by any means.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It was more of because when I first started this YouTube channel, you can scroll down if you want, you'll see the 12-hour challenge, 50-hour programming challenges that me and Jordan, or me and, okay, what did you say?
Hey, there we
go. Whoa. Me and what now? Me and who? Me and who?
You've already
I mean, it's whatever. So, the, so me and him, quote unquote, were basically doing these programming challenges and such, and that kind of grew from that into the application that we were originally designing. But again, I stepped out a while, and then I know Monty took a break from IT for a little bit, and when he came back, we were talking. He was like, "Yo, how's that app doing?" I was like, I don't know. I kind of stepped off the project and I kind of explained my reasons why. And then he was like, we should try to check it out and see what it's like. So,
because I mean, like we had a decent show. Like I came in towards the end, so I didn't have as much with the app, but I saw the vision behind it, and the what it could have been, not necessarily to the extent that Jordan wanted to bring it to. Like I said, the name's already out. I'm not about to sit here and twinkle toe around it at this point, but the app had a good base, a good idea for it, and it kind of fit the little puzzle piece that they were trying to build for it.
Mm.
So seeing that, and then all of a sudden hearing that it's no longer a project being worked on by Cosmo, I was kind of like, that seems off, but I'm interested to see what sort of path it took. Is it still the same application that we were working with before? Like, how much has it changed with everything that he said he wanted to do with it?
Mm. Yeah.
So... that started the night of us going to the website and first clicking around and noticing that now there was an accounts page.
Yeah.
By the way, for anybody who's listening, there is no, like, the site's down right now. We've talked to him before we get into this, and he starts saying, oh no, that's Black Hat hacking. No, we talked to him first before we went through this. And we got his permission to tell this story. He said at some point if we wanted to, we could, and we've been kind of holding off on it just for a stream like this.
Yeah.
So... nobody jump forward and he's hacking this.
Yeah, no, we had full permission and full eligibility to do this. So we check out the webpage, right, and with his full permission, for the record, just clarifying that he gave us permission to do this, do pen testing on the project. Before, just reiterate what Matsu said. We go ahead and try to actually download. So first of all, we're looking through the webpage. And we noticed like a lot of new features and stuff. There's a GitHub page, but it's privated, even though I was never actually removed from the GitHub GitHub page or GitHub repository. But it wasn't available to the public or anything. So we actually tried to download it. And we downloaded the Windows installer because I was on Windows at the time. And downloaded it. We tried to run it, and nothing happens. Like the installer did not work any way, shape, or form.
It wasn't even like an error code failure. It was kind of just like it fell somewhere in the background quietly, and we just never knew that it did or didn't finish completely.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. So we downloaded the Linux one too, I think, to see look through the code of that one as well, and we saw what the URL for the zip file that contained the application and all the other stuff. So we go to that URL and do an invoke web request or whatever, how we did it, and got the zip file, extracted the zip file, and there was, the source code for the entire project. And we're like, okay, so we try to run it and it doesn't work. So then where did we go exactly? Was it the first file in the
So, if I'm correct, what happened was we went through and checked the installer first. That's what we were looking at.
Yeah.
What in the installer broke, if there was something that directly pointed towards, hey, there's a problem here.
It was, it wouldn't download the full zip directory. We tried to extract it and there was nothing in the zip file.
That's what it was, because it was giving us some sort of error with the way he was doing it. So that's when we ended up actually going to the site. We found it in the installer where they were doing those the GET requests from.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, we started looking through another part that kind of led us to how we were at this point was he did mention that we had the GitHub that he was a part of still. The code on that GitHub was out of date. It wasn't the current version. He actually stopped hosting the code off of GitHub and started putting it inside of the web server he was using altogether. So the most updated version was what was on the site, and we're looking at maybe 7 or 8 versions behind is what was left on that private GitHub.
Yeah.
But as we started looking through those files to see kind of what was going on, what was there, what was happening, we ended up noticing that in those older files, there was one file that kind of had a suspicious name, as if it was meant to be a local database just hidden in a text file.
Yeah.
For credentials. And as we opened it, we found what we at the time believed, and we now know to be true as the credentials to it.
Yeah.
Kind of laughed it off, thinking, maybe something's changed, and it had changed, thank goodness. But you want to pick it from here real quick? I gotta check on something.
Cool. Yeah. So we found a users.database file that contained credentials for the users who were using the application, and so we cross-referenced this with the code to see if there's any like relevancy to it or anything like that. So we go into the actual code for the application, and literally one of the first files in the entire directory was something called database.py. And kid you not, if you open that file, it was a package for the main code that would actually connect to the database and save any credentials that were used to sign in on the app to the database stored wherever it is on the internet. However, the credentials for the app were stored in plain text in the middle of the code, so you could easily. You said what?
In 2 places.
Yeah, in 2 places, like plain text credentials, just right there. And as well as that, the encryption process that the code used to encrypt the passwords was also straight right there in the code. So someone with enough reverse engineering skills or just common sense could easily just, reverse the cycle and.
It was hashing them, and I will tell you, it is a pretty standard hashing protocol that he used. No hate on that. It's just the fact that he kind of left it so in the open, as well as a file clearly meant to be downloaded by everybody with those credentials. And it's not like you had to look at it either. It's not like it was obscured or anything like that. It was just in the file, clear as day. It was kind of just one of those, like, you look at it and think, how did that mistake come about? How do you not look at that and kind of think, like, hey, we should slow down? But this is where it kind of gets fun. So seeing this problem that's come up, immediately Cosmo being Cosmo goes, well, let me whip out Python and see what I can do. So I'm laughing because I know we don't need Python at this point because, like, we've got the credentials. Yeah. We've got username, password, we've got the server. I'm over here just like, why don't we just sign into the database? So I'm over here waiting for the stuff. My internet's being slow that night, and I'm waiting for SQL database viewer to download or whatnot. Yeah. And he's over here jumping around some code, and I'm letting him go about it. And finally I get signed in, and he's like, I think I'm starting to figure something out. I'm like, I'm in the database already.
Yeah, I was trying to start doing like a mock reverse engineering process, see how the encryption file was actually working, because I was so confused with the salts he was using, because that was just throwing me the hell off.
So what was happening was his the way the whole process for sign-in works is this website would create the actual original database entry. So it would take your username, it would take your password. He had it set up for student or teacher, and then from there it would also assign a random ID number. But the ID numbers weren't numerical in any format, so I do think it was truly meant to be a random number. And it didn't seem like there was really much of a range. So what happened was when the database would create those credentials, it would throw those credentials to the SQ database, and it would save those credentials because obviously it's just created new login information. But when you ran anything through that database, or the encryption.py file, what we were getting was a hashed password that was coming out with a very strange salt that was different from what was already there. I think we later figured out that was actually normal, and it's because of the way the salt whipped it up. Yeah. Basically, inside the salt, there's a little bit of information, the first, 3 or 4 bytes worth of info, that actually tells you how many times it's been padded. So it's still being padded. So no matter who gets the password or whoever gets it and they're dehashing it, it always tells you what the pad is.
Gotcha.
So once you got rid of that salt, then it was just down to a standard hash that you could run through anything, and it wouldn't take very long to get through, depending on the password strength.
Yeah.
So the reason this got interesting is because we spent, I think up to this point, it'd taken us about 10 minutes to get into the database. No, 10 to 15.
Yeah.
To get into the database and start looking at this decrypt.py file. And that's, like he said, he was already going through this, combing through, trying to figure out what's going on. I handed him what was there in the database, and we started comparing. Now we're going to reference back to some of those older files. That one file I mentioned earlier that was meant to be a local text page database.
The users.db?
Yes. So the users.db file that was in the older code, the stuff that came from the GitHub that was now at this point kind of defunct.
Mm-hmm.
That file, like we said, was believed to have the passwords to that. And so we were, I think the reason that we had so much trouble with it and couldn't figure out what was going on is because we would hash the passwords that we found through this encrypt.py. And it wasn't giving us what we thought it was. It didn't return something that should have matched.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we were so confused, especially when you look at the query he did. So looking back at it, I believe what he was doing was not querying, does this password hash decrypt, I say decrypt, does it equal the value of what we have stored? It was, does this exact text match this exact text?
Yeah.
And it would return a false unless it was done through another file that was plugged in that we later found out about.
But, the code. Oh my gosh.
The code was...
oh my gosh. I mean, if you're watching this, I mean this the most respectful way possible. The code was so out of, proportion of, how you're supposed to program. Even if you don't know, PEP 8 or anything like that, it's still, the code was just, ugly.
It lacked structure, so it was hard for us to find out. We would find global variables that didn't make sense because we couldn't find where they would originate from.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't tell where one thing would start, where, what it did or anything, until we actually ended up piecing through every single file, digging through every line, and that was where the next hour and some change went afterwards, was us digging through, trying to figure out, where these global variables came from, what are they doing, how is this possible, because we were searching up as if these were actual imported, files for Python, and we're over here looking through Python's database of all this and that, and can't find references to any of these. So we're dying at this point, and that's when we start realizing that they are global variables. That he wrote these variables himself, and it just... and I want you guys to know, we didn't do this to make fun of him. This was never meant to be a, haha, your code sucks, this, that, and third. When we came at this project, we approached this with him, and we talked to him about some of the stuff that we plan on doing, some of the stuff that we already found. We let him know that if we would have found these and wouldn't have told anybody, and he would have somehow found a user who would take this product and use it, he's left that data kind of free floating.
Yeah.
I know that those passwords, thank goodness, the best thing I can say about this, that we can give him credit for, was the fact that those passwords were not stored in clear text.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't make it better that everything was still there in the open for someone to grab.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially if he, made the GitHub public. Because, first of all, why have a GitHub for the project if it's not going to be open source? Because he was going to say he was going to, publicize it or whatever.
I think that comes... I don't mean to cut you off with that, but to kind of explain that mindset, we did originally start the project off on GitHub. That's where everything was held. That's where the central repository was. That's how our installer originally used to pull from GitHub, not the site itself, if I'm correct.
Gotcha.
And so when he started updating, that's when he was like, okay, yeah, store it here. And it sounds like he did a lot of Google research into how he wanted to store this code. And I think that's why he pulled off of GitHub. He wanted to start doing it the same way that, I don't know, like Firefox, they host their exe installer on their site. They host everything they need from there, that the start-off files and everything's pulled from where it needs to be pulled. The problem is that I don't think he really understood what he was doing when he did all this. For one, whenever we talked to him about it before, he was very confused about the decryption.py.
Yeah.
when we talked to him about it, he kept using the term, I would send it off encrypted, and it would come back, and it would decrypt and compare the passwords, which... that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
Because if that really was something that he implemented in the file, we're talking about leaving whatever key he used to encrypt that inside of the file. It'd be a reused constant key as well.
Mm.
So the idea was good. His application, what he wanted to do with it, is good. It was just big heart, poor planning. Not quite an understanding of what needs to be done. And since then, the project is going well. He's actually moved off from a downloadable version to using a web application, a way that he can control those permissions. Certain files with database credentials do kind of still need to be in certain areas for that, or he would have to set up a whole new server setup where he's got all that stuff, that query is ran on a completely different system and it's returned.
Yeah.
But that's, something that requires money. So he's doing what he can for right now, which
Yeah.
is good. He's got a bunch of ideas he's learned from some of the stuff that we brought up and talked about.
Give him credit where it's due for sure.
Seriously, he's trying to do something big. That's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see Adam has joined the chat. What's good, man? Can you talk? I think it's push to talk right now.
Yeah, Adam, if you haven't set your push to talk yet, go to your voice settings and allow you to set that option real quick, and you can jump in and talk with us.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
What's up, guys?
What's up? And
Talking
we are
about the application thing.
Yeah, we are live on YouTube, just so you know.
Yep, I'm watching.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we were just talking about probably one of the easiest pen tests in the history of man. But
cracking the application thing.
Yeah. And I believe you are the newest member of the CTF team, is that correct?
I am indeed.
That's awesome. We're going to have to get your picture up there on the website, which if you guys have not seen, go ahead and check out the CTF page on the website. I need to drop the link into that. Because that...
Super excited.
Oh, yeah. I'll drop that right now. There you go. If you guys have not seen the CTF page, most definitely check it out, because it's a very beautiful collective of people. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so have you have any cool stories about your security career?
Nothing really major yet. I mean, I'm working at the IT department in my school for 3 years now.
Oh, nice.
I guess the one thing that probably the most recent and major thing was the Kaseya breach, or the ransomware. And one of our IT like remote management company they used that, so we had a close call with that, but we were safe from that. We had a close call, yeah.
So, do you know much about that breach? I mean,
because
I haven't heard too much about.
Nah, so I know now they're like they have everything back. I think they got the keys back. I think the company actually or not the company, but the people who actually ransomed it up, I think they gave them the keys after a certain amount of time without them even paying, I think. I can look it up, but let me...
Yeah.
But what
I think it was Revel or Our Evil, whatever, was behind it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I did hear a little about that one actually. I heard they're coming back with a big relaunch. So
yeah.
So a little bit of getting on that now that I know about which hack you're talking about specifically. I did hear a little bit about it actually. So it sounds like what happened was they accidentally generated a universal key when they were only supposed to generate a one-time. And somehow one of the security researchers, I'm not exactly sure which group it is, but it's one of those bigger ones that's been a part of the cool, like, if you ever listen to Darknet Diaries, you'll probably have heard of that team being listed. But there's a lot of basically they accidentally generated a universal key for all of them. They put that out there. They realized that mistake later, and so they kind of went into hiatus for a little bit because their entire malware scheme just got shut down because one guy did something stupid. But they did relaunch with some of their original infrastructure coming back, saying, like, we're going to be doing this again, just bigger and better things, which to me is funny. Like, was like, I will rob this bank one day.
One day.
One day I will re-rob this bank successfully.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just what it sounds like. But, so for those who are listening right now, the Discord server is always open. If you've got, stories like what we've just told, or you've got, stuff like that, by all means, jump in, add us. Let us hear it. Let's get you on here. Let's hear some fun stories.
Most definitely.
Yeah, this is I think my third or second day here, and everyone's super welcoming. I love it here. So.
Yeah, Cosmodium, the Cosmodium community is freaking amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at me. So, I'm growing up.
Give you guys an idea. Our community is real good. We have a number of people who come in and just hang out, and we do some weekend stuff. I mean, Adam here showed up a couple days ago, asked if we want to do some little side CTF stuff. So we pulled up Mr. Robot on TryHack Me and just ran through. Wanted to see what he could do, give him some pointers, and started helping him prepare for some other stuff. Some coming up in October, there will be the Dead Face CTF, which is one that our team fully intends to go through. So right now we've got, since it's a 4-man, we're going to end up doing 2 teams. We've got a really competitive team that's really shooting for that top spot. Let's really hope. But then we've got our training team, and the idea is to give them that experience to get in there and for us to be able to bounce back and, teach them a little bit with active boxes, with new challenges. What they're going to see in these challenges will be a good way for us to kind of do that one-by-one. And if that's something you're interested in as well, like the CTF team is always looking for people. We're not looking for people who are, Grand Slam, going to get us number 1 the first day you're there. But by all means, come in, talk with us, hang out.
Yeah, most definitely.
If you want to be there, we're not grabbing people who are ready to go right now. We're also teaching those people who are on those lower levels, who don't even have really the basics down yet. We're trying to give those people a place to learn and kind of build up their skill.
Yeah, I mean, in today's CTF, the one, Mr. Robot or whatever, I went through with what I knew, and then Matzi and them pointed me out in different directions, and I kept going, and they didn't hold my hand through the whole thing, but they helped me get through parts where I was getting stuck, and we figured it out at the end.
Yeah.
So when we do stuff like that, our job is not to make somebody feel like they're on the lower level, but we're going to be honest with you. I mean, we've had a couple people who don't like that honesty, who have taken that, and they're not ready for those corrections. They're not ready for us to tell you, hey, you're not where you may think you are. And we're not doing that to be mean. And what I mean by that is we've set standards for what we allow minimum into our CTF team. Because if we only have somebody who's used Linux for a week and thinks they're elite hacksaw because they've got Kali running, and those aren't the type of people we're looking for, because we're still wanting to provide an experience that's enjoyable for the rest of the people. So if we fill a slot with somebody who's really just not there and we're picking up slack on them, it's not enjoyable for the rest of the people.
Yeah.
So we set those standards. We're not doing it to tell people, no, we're excluding you from the team because you're not cool enough. It's, let's work with you. We've even offered that. The people that we've shot down from the team, we've offered them full-on training.
Oh, yeah.
Let us show you, let us pull you up to what we know.
Yeah,
or, as close to, as far as you want to take it.
Yeah, because I and Matzi and a lot of the people on the server contribute a lot back to those who contribute to us. I know, for example, the cryptography course a lot of you guys may be familiar with. The only reason why I actually made the course to begin with, because I was going to do a cryptography course eventually, but the reason why I kind of expedited it is because one of the people on the server didn't really completely understand crypto, right? And I was like, I'm already starting to plan the course. I may as well just kind of expedite it and send it out to him. So that's the entire reason why that course even exists right now. We're always trying to give back to the community, so it's definitely a really cool place. So if you guys want to be a lot more involved with us, you can check out the Discord server as well. That's where a lot of us are typically out there chilling, talking, having fun, playing Minecraft, the whole nine. So.
Minecraft server's a new edition.
Yeah, Minecraft server's
That's
a new
open to
edition.
everybody.
Yeah.
Minecraft, look at that boy.
And so like I know personally, I'm there daily. I know I can always see Cosmo there daily. There's a lot of people that we see there on the daily. Come in and ask them. There's a lot of questions that go around. We've got a lot of knowledgeable people. As you look through some of their stuff that they show off, like there's one new member I'd like to point out who just got here today. Box of white hats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, as soon as he got in here, started posting a bunch of stuff, contributing to some of the groups that, to be honest, have been rather dead for a while, and stirred up some conversation. It's got some really cool stuff to show.
Yeah.
One of the things that caught my eyes, he's got a captive portal built on his Wi-Fi Pineapple, which, filthy plug, if you guys haven't seen it, Cosmo's got an unboxing video where he covers that. It is hilarious, by the way, because dude's nervous as could all be. But he's got this captive portal that he's built onto his Wi-Fi Pineapple Mark 7 that lets you play Mario. Like, that's just so weird. Like, it doesn't actually serve a purpose really in security, other than to maybe raise some eyebrows and show as a proof of concept that, yeah, you are vulnerable.
I think he also mentioned for that Mario Captain Portal thing, he runs like beef behind it so he can deploy fake logins to it and stuff.
Stuff like that. It's a cool little like group of stuff that he's put together. Like that's the type of knowledge that we like to have. Like weird projects, weird things that you wouldn't think make sense. I mean, some of our community members have. You want to talk about yesterday's stream and how that went?
Yeah.
And the knowledge that came from afterwards?
Yeah, so yesterday, well, every Friday, I do a live stream. Right now, we're working on the Codex project, which is going to be a Python cryptography suite, and it's pretty sweet. So you guys should definitely check it out. But yesterday, I was trying to incorporate a concept that is specific to the Visionaire cipher, where you can figure out the key that they're using to encrypt something based off of letter frequencies, which are basically how common each letter is used and such. And I found an algorithm on GitHub I was trying to incorporate, and I couldn't get it to work. I was like doing all this fixing and stuff, plus the stream was lagging like crazy, so I don't know what was going on there. But as soon as I end the stream, I get a ping on Discord, so I go over there and check it out. And I believe it was, who was it? All right. Someone on the Discord server, I think it was a Danu. Yeah, Danu went on the Discord server and told me exactly how the algorithm was supposed to work. I was like, oh, seriously? Like I just spent the last 2 hours trying to figure this out, and he was like, hey, yeah, this is how it works and all this. So I just was able to get it working literally as soon as I finished the stream. So whenever I start streaming that again, I already know exactly what I need to do because he's already contributed so much to helping me figure out how it works. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. So again, really sweet community. Are you guys there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. So yeah, do you have any cool? Actually, I guess you're failing. How did you get into actually IT?
Yeah, so in grade school, we had a very like small computer lab, and we would just do like basic stuff on Scratch or whatever. typical computer classes. And I was just messing around in command prompt, like trying out all different commands and stuff. And my computer teacher like helped me along and was like showing me stuff in command prompt. And that's when it like really like started. And outside of class, he would like show me stuff. He introduced me to Kali Linux, like Android hacking and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
And from there, that's when I just started like researching and messing around with stuff.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I have to find him again. I have to find his email. And just update him on my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who started it all.
That's cool. That's actually really cool to hear that. Like, someone kind of pushed you towards it.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily pushed. Like he guided that little path and kind of created the tunnel.
Yeah. he used to give me like challenges, like when I came into computer class, like I wouldn't have to do the normal, like I
Work.
wouldn't have to complete the scratch assignment. I would just be able to like mess around in command prompt and do all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Monty, how did you get into hacking?
Oh, it's a story and a half. So, I was the type of person who liked to, I dig a lot into, like, web comics, horror stories, that type of stuff. And for any of those who are familiar with, like, Marble Hornets or any of those horror series, it's always fun to look at and kind of pick apart things. And there's some things that exist within the world that are fun to look at and say, like, that could never happen because when so reason. About that time, as I'm digging into this, and I'm still in my, like, let's pick apart because it's fun mindset, Watch Dogs 2's trailer came out. I played a little bit of Watch Dogs 1. It never really caught my attention. But looking at some of the hacking stuff they did, I kind of got a little skeptical about, like, how easy it could be. How, they do it from their phones to the set and the third, and there's no way that a system like that would ever work. Of course, me not really paying attention to 1 and not playing 2 yet, I didn't know anything about CTOS. They need connectivity, the 1 network, all of it being controlled from there. Obviously, with that sort of setup, it is semi-possible, but it kind of started into that investigation of how hacking works.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can justify what they're doing to say yes or no it does or doesn't exist? And, I kind of had to come to my own conclusions based on some of the stuff I was working with beforehand, before Watch Dogs 2 came out, to figure out whether it was or wasn't. And then from there, I kind of built on some more of the terminology. After doing this whole investigation thing, like learning some of this stuff, I decided I wanted to play around with it a little bit. It kind of caught my attention and was so deep. Like, it was just such a deep pool to get into. There wasn't just one type of hacking. There wasn't one hack that always worked on something. It was, find your collection of puzzle pieces that you either built or found from somebody else or someone. Plug that puzzle piece, hopefully, maybe with about 3 or 4 other pieces into the slot and get it to work. And nowadays I look at it as a much more different thing. But back then it was very much, let me get this box of tools together, this random collection. And that's, where I know some people don't like the term script kiddie kind of starts, is let me get this collection of very specific events and things that I can do that will apply to this specific area.
Yeah.
After all that and everything, at the age of 18, I joined the military. Got the chance to get into IT through the military, hang out with some of those guys. And I didn't enter as an IT tech. I was part of HR. But I met some really cool guys. I got to work with a shop full of 25 Bravos. For those who do or don't know what that MOS is, shoot it to Google. That's where I really got into the desktop support area, and that's where I started to build up a lot of my knowledge on what computers are. And that from there was kind of the biggest boost of knowledge towards the security stuff, because the security stuff is always cool. Everybody always, you see the sexy hacker, but it's never the sexy desktop support tech that you see in movies about, comic books, and it's kind of funny to say, but I mean, hacking is the sexy side of IT.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I got to do, was build up that base first, and then, hit my puberty stage and grow into that little security range. It was fun.
No security had a puberty stage, but now I'm feeling enlightened.
IT did, and security is its bigger, older brother.
On the one thing you said, like how deep it is, like there's not only one way to break into a net. Like there's so many ways and possibilities. It's like endless.
Oh yeah.
Like nothing's ever 100%.
It really is, and it grabs you so much. Like during the CTF, I never really had one specific area I've always grabbed into on the CTF, but I got the chance to play around forensics for the first time during ActivityCon. And that was really interesting. I worked on the challenge. Excellent for anybody who did participate in ActivityCon and actually did that challenge. It was a pain, especially whenever you've never touched anything like that before.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew about forensics was about one tool called Autopsy, and I knew it was used to recover deleted files and stuff like that. So, knew nothing about volatility, any of that stuff. So
Yeah, no, and that's
going
honestly,
through it all.
Yeah, no, that's honestly like one of the beautiful things about CTFs is that like you get to learn so much and have fun a lot. And that's honestly like one of the main reasons why I do CTF. It's not I mean, there's the competitive aspect and that's why I'll, of course, compete and try to win. But overall, it's a learning experience. It you learn so much by trying new challenges, seeing new creative ways to like attack certain boxes and all this other stuff. And it's kind of opposed to what you guys were talking about earlier about like getting into hacking and like all the different fields and ways and methods of getting into hacking. Like I got into hacking through malware development, right? I learned networking through malware because of worm viruses and the such. I didn't learn like things like I don't know, like Metasploit probably, or like I don't know, like those like not Metasploit, but like Burp. I never touched Burp before, and I never really got into web hacking until later in my career. I do have a video actually about my hacking career and how I got into hacking and all that.
Another filthy plug.
Yeah, another another guilty. There's no guilt in there. I'm out here just plugging, plugging, plugging. But
I mean, for those who are new to the channel, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been covered.
Oh yeah.
We get into that sort of stuff all the time because it's cool to like see both some semblance and everybody's stories about like what grabbed them, and you can always tell when they hit that spot where they found it because they get this big grin on their face.
Oh yeah.
They get all excited and a little short breath and everything. And it's funny hearing people talk about it because it's just some of the weirdest ways that you'll hear people get into this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got into hacking because I got trolled. Like people were pranking me, and I got into hacking.
It is funny, because I don't know if you've noticed now with some of these younger, newer hackers, a lot of them are coming over after watching VOD and getting into stuff like that. Like that, to me, I when Mr. Robot became very mainstream, I saw a lot of people who were like, "Yeah, I thought Elliot was cool, and I wanted to do that." And it was like, I mean, the hacking's cool, but the depression, drug use, all that, like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you might want to wait. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool just to see like how much people share in common when they enter that hacker culture, which just really shows you that it really is a mindset that is shared amongst a lot of people.
And the thing about like the hacking community, it's not really like other communities where if you have one certain belief, like if you like this type of car, you don't like that type of car, everyone's kind of on the same basis.
Yeah.
Up until the moment you tell them that Windows is secure and that it's the best hacking OS.
Mac can compare to.
Oh yeah.
Then people go nuts.
I don't know, man.
Tell them you hack off a Macintosh and.
I mean, we hacked that entire app off of Windows, so. That from the beginning of the story. At least I was on Windows.
It's not hacking if all you have to do is log in.
Damn.
Yeah.
You ain't wrong. Oh man.
I mean, if downloading a tool used to edit a normal SQL database is considered hacking, I've been hacking for years, guys. I'm a dirty, filthy black cat. And I need
oh yeah, lead speak God right here.
But the community is very open to people. For those who are new to the community, it doesn't get. But there's the Hackers Manifesto, and as much as it captured kind of what the idea of what the hacking community is back then, it still captures just as much now the idea that we're not judging based on skin color, religion, gender, any of that stuff, especially when there's so much of it nowadays, so many different views and different varieties. It's all about what you know, your willingness to learn. That's what we judge you on, and your attitude mostly. Everybody I talk to, the quickest thing that's going to get me to stop wanting to help somebody is their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in willing to learn, willing to accept that criticism, and everybody has to go with that criticism. I'm still some days eating crow, finding my humble spot whenever I think I know something I don't.
Yeah.
And I get showed something new. I mean, that's part of it. You're always going to have to go to that humble spot and realize this person, knows more about this topic, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody knows everything, but enough people with enough random weird little facts about something turns out to be a great little combination of the community.
Oh yeah. And I mean that's part of the dynamic of like being the CTF team. I know Adam's again one of our newest members, but like when you're working in a team, right? Like my skills are mainly like web hacking, crypto, and like malware development, which you don't see too much in CTFs, but In the example of CTFs, let's say if I get into like a web server and I can't escalate my privileges, I know Mati, he's great at Privesk. Like this dude, Privesk God. So I'm like, yo, here's the
let's
creds.
not go that far about it.
I know, I'm playing.
I
But
love me some Primus, but I wouldn't say God status by any means.
fine.
Like,
How about like goat?
let's try artisan. Let's keep it there.
Cool.
Someone who's passionate, but not exactly known and just loves the world.
All right, cool. So Monty's very passionate about privilege escalation, so I'll let him follow his dreams and give him the creds to the web server and let him, try to get, root on there. Well, I'll go ahead and tackle the next challenge, right? So when you have like a dynamic, group of hackers, like when you find that community, that's really where you can actually start to like benefit a lot. And that's what we're trying to be, like an open community for people who are new and willing and accepting to try to learn.
I'd say so far with the team members who do participate with us, I'd say we're pretty close to it. The people who are there daily, who are in those voice chats with us, who like, even if we don't get in voice chat that day, sending messages.
Yeah.
I know there's some people on that server who I may not talk to in the server directly. I'll get PMs from directly or DMs, depending on, what platform you are, what age you are, but I'll get messages from those people even if I'm not on the server. If I'm not on the server for a day, it goes noticed. I get messages asking, hey, you busy? Like, that's the type of community we have where people actually want to make sure that everybody is okay. Like, we care about those family things that go on, the things that, you wouldn't think you would bring to a community like this.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place. I feel like there's a lot of people who want to see progress and growth.
Yeah, because it's really, we just, care about like the benefit of it. And I mean, Cosmodium as a company is a security education company, right? We're not, like some sort of like protection company. We're an education company. So one of our main goals through that is to, again, teach the community. So a lot of that we do through Discord, through the YouTube channel, through, outside resources as well. Just being able to teach and help, this community grow, because the security community isn't that big. I mean, it's big, but it's not like, how do I say this? It's not like, when you compare it to a lot of other communities, it isn't as, there isn't much of like an attention for it. And
it feels like it lacks a pyramid structure, and not to cut you off on this or anything, but
no, go ahead.
You very much have these people who are on this higher level, who have all this knowledge. People like Hack5, that's probably a bad example because they're real good about reaching out with our community and bringing people up into those higher levels. That's real nice. But there's some communities who are very much, we're so high on the totem pole, we're doing things that are bigger, that we really don't have time to reach down like we'd want to. We distribute some content that are meant to be for early people and mid-level people, but a majority of what we're doing is focused around the continued growth. And I feel like right now, we don't want that pyramid structure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do, but we don't. We want to actually be able to lift and bring people from that lower tier to that middle. And eventually, those people who are in that middle who still have that dedication will come up and be part of that higher tier who's also reaching down and grabbing.
Yeah.
Right now, all of our CTF members are very dedicated to what we've got going on. But our whole reason for being together isn't to be number one on those charts. We would love to be. That's something eventually we hope to aim for. But the end of the day, the goal that we're going for is grabbing those newer members who have got that experience, giving them the opportunity to experience something like that and learn something along the way. That way they're an even better asset to the team. Mm-hmm. And we want people to come out of this better than where they started.
Oh, yeah.
Not just on skill level, but to be honest, whenever you get into a community like this, sometimes you kind of silence yourself, like you put yourself in a corner. I know for a while, whenever I started, it was very much nobody understood what was going on. I couldn't talk to anybody about it because I would talk about, what an SQL injection is, and people would look at me like I was crazy, like I was speaking a foreign language, and some people it is. But when you find that community, you'll find that, for one, the knowledge you get just from sharing is great, but your general enjoyment, your love for it, your passion comes out more. because there's people to share with. Your achievements aren't just something that you keep to yourself anymore. Like, you get to show off those achievements to somebody who values what those are.
Yeah.
And they're like genuinely happy to see you like succeed.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So, going back to the Mr. Robot CTF we did earlier, I just played for a couple minutes. I left Adam to it, and there was I knew it was going to be gone for about 15, 20 minutes. I was a little worried that when I left, he would probably be stuck on the spot, in which case I'd come back and help him get him a little further. While I was gone, Adam figured it out. He went through enough Googling, enough figuring out what was going on, filling around with the environment what time. For those who haven't, or who have done the Mr. Robot I'm referring to, it's the escalation of the shell. So you get your initial shell in, and there's one application, I'm not going to say which one, because if you haven't done it yet, I'd still like you to try it. That's always a fun one to do because of the variety of challenges. But there's an application that has root privileges, and by using its privileges, you can actually get to the last flag under root.
Yeah.
He figured it out. When I got there, he was on that back end of getting ready to actually run it, get it set up, and escalate those privileges. And then the box just about died. That was even better.
Again.
He just catted the file, and then the box died. So he still had the flag. But
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Skin of the teeth. He knew he missed that and would have been able to get that flag until he redid everything.
Yeah. I went back into the Hack the Box website, and it said your box is about to close. I was like, oh my.
Oh man.
Stuff like that, like we I don't want to say that I underestimated what he did, but to see him grow from what my original thoughts of what his skill were, to see him kind of surpass that was exciting to me. Like, because that's the stuff I want the new members to be a part of. What did you say immediately after you finished it?
I was so happy. I was like, I felt accomplished. In 3 hours, I learned more. Like those 3 hours were like great. I learned so much in those just 3 hours of you guys helping me.
For anybody who's watching right now, I do want to shout this out. I know I've talked quite a bit so far, but be smart. These skills that we have, that we're learning, these things we're picking up, there's places for them. You know, Try Hack Me's a great one. Hack the Box is a good one. If you're already at that little more advanced level and you want to start actually working with real applications in use now, HackerOne. What's the other one that has a bug bounty program? There's another website for it. Bugcrowd.
Gotcha.
Bugcrowd's what it is. So places like that, there are places where you can go and practice these skills that you want and do it in an environment. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I know that little college website built by somebody that is super insecure, looks like the most juicy, fun target you're ever going to have. It's going to get that blood running, but here's the problem. What happens when that catches back up to you? That 15 minutes worth of hacking that you did doesn't seem like much. Maybe something happened a year ago and you forget about it. Now it's being brought back up. Anything you have further, this love that you've grown for it in the year, if you continued, it's a waste.
Yeah.
It's gone. You're going to lose that privilege to do it the way you want to do it. So if anybody's out there thinking, this little website built by somebody's little community or little educational web app looks like a fun target, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's really not.
And it comes to a point.
Try to help them secure instead of just breaking their work.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you happen to find it while doing it, by all means, reach out to them. Let them know. But don't seek out those opportunities without the bug bounty program is what I would suggest.
Yeah.
If you think you found something or you would like to test it because it's a service, reach out to them first. Tell them this is what my intent is. Are you okay with this? There's a good reason why I say that. For those who are here, a little plug for another, I know most of us have probably listened to it, but Darknet Diaries. It's a nice little podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Put on by Jack Resider. There's an episode called Elliot Alderson, the same name as Mr. Robot himself, but it goes over a French hacker who on Twitter goes by Elliot, and he hacks all these different apps. And one of the stories they talk about is how he would find these applications that looked to be vulnerable, and he would go to support, or he'd go and submit it to them. Some of these people, though, didn't take it as he was helping. They took it as he had attacked our website to do something because he didn't obtain that permission first. The people who take it right, they loved it. They thanked him for what he did. They thanked him for his time and his skill and for telling them, the proper way. But some people won't ever understand the security field the way they should, and they're never going to react the way that, they don't see it the way that the service should be. That, like somebody smaller, somebody younger, they find something like that, there's a million people who are either past their skill level or are on that level who found and used the exact same. Anybody could find that, but they chose to let you know. Like that's the type of situation that I feel like people need to evaluate and keep yourself out of, because you may have gone in with good intentions, but the outcome of it could be bad.
Oh, yeah.
So, stay clear of that sort of stuff. Just find the right areas, practice, get better, and then more and more areas become available to you. Say you get on Bug Bounty and you don't feel like you're in that spot where you can do anything with Bug Bounty. Well, Try Hack Me teaches. You go to Try Hack Me, you do some courses on some reverse engineering, a little bit of forensic stuff, because some of that stuff plays into the reverse engineering. I mean, suddenly you're looking at, more opportunities have opened up to you. And you found a community too. Try Hack Me's Discord server is filled with people who love to go do that sort of stuff.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Anything you want to add to that? I know I kind of went off.
No, you're good. To add to a point earlier about staying ethical, it's very important. And if you have these skill sets, right? These skill sets are needed, and they are needed heavily. You can see with ransomware attacks going on like crazy going over the pandemic. They are like recruiting people straight out of college, people who haven't even finished getting their degree yet. Like, just like, you're majoring in cybersecurity, cool, I'm hiring you. And these people have like full-fledged jobs now. But I was actually talking to John Hamm about this. Yes, again, another shameless plug on the channel about his opinion about the ransomware attacks. And he basically kind of has a general, really interesting point of view about how we need to start focusing more about not just getting that security, I guess, basic concepts, but to start investing into the people. So instead of just knowing how to avoid a phishing email and all this other stuff, we need to focus more about the people who have the skill sets. So if you are skilled in this field, if you are, I guess, have the experience for the security, I guess, field and cybersecurity areas and careers, that's something you should definitely pursue. You have the skill set that people are looking for right now, and they're looking for it desperately. It is a very lucrative career. And I'm not saying get into it for the money, get into it because it may be your passion, but it is something, if you have the skill sets for, you should definitely invest your time and money and dedication into getting into the security field, because it is going to be one of the most important fields within the next decade. No question about it.
You made a good point about making sure that it's something you love. For those of you who were earlier, you heard Cosmo talk about, I took my little break whenever what were we calling it at the time? I know now it's referred to as a study pal, but the first story that we told about the application we broke.
Was it originally called that?
No, what was it originally called? Wasn't it?
WizEd.
WizEd, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. When we were working on that WizEd project, I did take a little bit of a break from IT. And the reason is, to be honest, I let it consume everything I did. It became all I did. And for somebody who loves it, that's a good thing, but it also quickly becomes a bad thing. The problem with cybersecurity is it's revolved around people doing bad things. Mm. It's revolved around things being broken, and a lot of the times we see how easy things are broken. and it starts to make you question whether, like, even though you know how a lot of things are broken, you see the ease in which something is broken.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you worry all the time. It fills you with this constant, like, what's the point? Eventually it will happen. And like, there's got to be a separation. Cosmodium has taken a good standpoint of life takes priority first. We always make sure that people know that when we have events, we've got people set up for certain things. We want them to know that life always, it's the primary focus for those sorts of things. CTF comes up, you want to be a part of it, but now you've got, you know, a wedding, you got a date, your mom's got a doctor there for. Nobody's gonna be mad. We want you to be there. We want you to take care of your family. I think you should have that separation because that's what's going to keep that drive going. Because if something's on your mind 24/7, you stop getting excited for it.
Yeah.
So find that separation.
Yeah. The part where you were saying about like how easy it is about all this, if you were looking at it from a malicious perspective, Cosmo and I were talking about it earlier. Like whenever we walk into a building or a business or whatever.
Oh yeah,
the computer's
yeah.
right there. Everything is right there. If you just plug it in right there, like everything is. If you go into any building, I bet you can see one way to do it, and that's like.
Oh yeah.
That's a part where it's needed. Like security's needed there.
Yeah, because I told you this story already, but so I know another shameless plug, but
all right.
But I did a while back the 4-part series for the Ethical Hacker EDC, which is basically a everyday carry for a hacker, but it doesn't require a backpack, right? So if you go to something like a museum where they don't do security checks if you're not carrying a bag, then you could easily just walk in with enough hardware to, take down, quote unquote, a system or get compromise the system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I do carry my Ethical Hacker EDC pretty much every day with me wherever I'm going. All the time, I will see perfect opportunities just to go over and plug something in. I never would. But it just goes to show that how vulnerable companies, people, and etc. really are. It's very eye-opening to see like how easy it is. And I actually made an article. I know. I know the plugs. I know. Hold up.
Break your own arm trying to pat yourself on the back.
I know. I'm sorry, but I did write an article called "Problems for Security," where it's basically talks about how easy it is for hackers versus security professionals, like this ratio of compromise, I guess. So,
well, I mean, you hear it all the time. Like,
yeah,
they've got to be lucky once. We have to be lucky every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's like there's like a 12-year-old, 14-year-old who hacked a Swedish bank. Like that is crazy. And
sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying, like, it's really easy to get into it. I mean, you can literally, I know DDoSing isn't really hacking, it's more of a cyber attack, but you could easily just search up DDoS tools. And then there's a full-fledged website that teaches you exactly how to DDoS a page or like a website. And there's so many ways it's so easy just to become that malicious type of hacker. So it's very important that we have people who are focusing on the ethical side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the hospital one time. I just fell off my bike or whatever. And I was holding on to the back of a golf cart. We were going like 35 and I fell off. It doesn't story for another time, but I got to the hospital or whatever, and I'm sitting in one of the rooms, and I see like a little Intel Nook, I think they're called, just sitting there with the monitor, the computer wide open. No staff was in there or anything. If I had a little rubber ducky in my pocket, that's all it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like wide open right there.
I see Machine Man talking in the chat. I haven't been able to read it, but it seems like Monty. Would you want to say what he's talking about?
Let me see if I can. trying to read what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Someone actually used a pineapple or similar device to compromise and fake a certain worker's phone number.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure I had an uneasy grin with the recent Wi-Fi pineapple searches. He's talking about sometimes educating yourself can look suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, the amount of times I've been sweating. So my deployment before I left, I wasn't leaving with that. I have all this free time. There's no reason not to play around. And as far as Hack 5 tools, there's not many I don't have, if not multiple of those tools. So going through airport security always kind of makes me sweat because I'm worried that they're going to stop me and ask, and I have to explain, yes, these tools are for hacking. No, I'm not trying to hack you guys. No, I'm not trying to hack someone else. I'm trying to be a security researcher.
Yeah.
It makes me so nervous the day that I'm actually going to get stopped, and they're like, "What is this?"
And they throw out your several $100s worth of gear.
Dude, I would be so upset. That's one of the things we were talking about, though. The Hack 5 gear is so awesome, but I could never actually use it unless it was on a professionally paid engagement.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, if I was a black hat, I don't think I could ever get myself to use it. Because the idea of spending $100 for a Wi-Fi pineapple and leaving it somewhere because I can't get back into the building and it's just being gone and me hoping that it never gets found and data gets pulled off of it, that to me just scares the
ever-living that's the reason why we don't become black hat hackers. It's an expensive business. You don't want to be a black hat. You don't want to spend $100 plus on gear you'll never see again. So.
Yeah. About the leaving it there and stuff. I remember I was having a conversation with someone in the Hack 5 Discord. I was about to purchase I think it was the key croc over the bash bunny or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about exactly what you were saying, leaving the key croc plugged in and someone finding it. And that's what made me buy the bash bunny first. I was like, you know what? That's right. Although I'm not plugging it into random people's computers, I was just thinking that is true. If you're just gonna leave it there and hope that no one takes it, instead of an implant device where you're just plugging it and taking it.
Yeah.
Or not an implant, I mean hot plug.
Yeah.
It sounds bad when you think about it, but everybody when they buy those tools, I'm pretty sure, and none of you guys can deny it, think about it as if you were going to approach it as a hacker, like a black hat. Everybody does. I'm almost certain. Because that fear, I bought the Geek Rock because I want to play with it, and I started thinking where could I have used it if I wanted to. Because at the time I was employed with a financial company. Less names, but walking around, being in charge of certain things as IT, security is in that range, but we're not the only, there is somebody dedicated to security. But walking around, just seeing that day-to-day stuff that may go unmissed by somebody who's looking at an entire network from bird's eye view. Somebody who's on the ground who works these computers every day. There's so many key points in people's offices that you could hide these sort of things.
Yeah, especially going in there every single day, you kind of get used to it. You don't really look, but if you go in with a fresh set of eyes, I bet you can pinpoint everything. But if you go into work every day, you go to the same computer, you go to the same chair, you're not going to really look around the office every single day.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, some days you just want to get in that zone, just get your work done, get home, kiss your wife, go to bed.
Get in, get out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks to say that sometimes what jobs become, but I think that's where it's important. No matter what level you are, understand that security is still your responsibility. See something, say something. It's not just for terrorism, but for cybersecurity. So.
Yeah.
But
I have a question for you guys. I want your opinion on this.
All right.
So here on the Discord server, and I saw this in a separate article as well. Schools are starting to use Hack 5 gear for certain stuff. I know,
really?
Yeah. So they're using a Wi-Fi pineapple as a new hotspot for certain, I guess, students or classrooms as a monitoring method, and they also are using USB rubber duckies as a way to quickly install process, which is fine. The USB rubber ducky thing I get. The Wi-Fi pineapple, however, does raise a big concern for me for that one smart kid in the class.
Yeah. For someone who could actually use the Pi or the Pine AP and everything, to get in there. Here's for the monitoring side. Here's what I would tell you: there's nothing that the Wi-Fi pineapple can't do that a normal router won't.
Right.
The difference is that
mobility.
It's meant to be like I say this with all Hack5 tools. If you can build it your own, I recommend building it yourself at least once. So the reason I say that is because it's easy to look at that Pi interface. Sorry, not Pi, the Pineapple interface, and look at all these attacks, not understanding what they're really doing, just knowing that they're options, and that the booklet says if you want this data and this data, combine this option with this option and this plugin, and it works. So I think that actual idea, using the pineapple there in the school, is kind of, I don't want to say a waste of that situation, but it's putting readily available things in an area that shouldn't be. And a sysadmin can easily apply the features that they need to their routers.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's hard to do. I don't know, I just feel like there's better ways to, better hardware that could be used for that sort of stuff. Because those tools,
no, I agree.
They're meant to be rapid deployments of methods that we already know how to do. Like, if you've never, and it's kind of hard to find research on this nowadays, but I remember back when I first got it started, the big thing going around when the pineapple was listed was its alternative, like a Dropbox that you could build. So it was based on the Raspberry Pi, no matter what model you had, and you just flash the Kali Linux image over, you set up an automatic SSH session, you had everything up to date, you plug it into the network with that auto SSH or VPN session.
Yep.
But I think I know exactly when it hit that turn point too to the VPN. Hack5 did a video covering using one client on a VPN through them. And I'm pretty sure the moment they made that video, everything was like, oh, we're doing that right now. So, because with OpenVPN, it made more sense. A lot of companies will block if they don't need SSH. They'll block that port 22 from coming in or out.
Mm-hmm.
So, using OpenVPN, which will travel to that port 80 as normal web surfing traffic, it kind of just made more sense to do that. But the reason I brought Dropbox is because the Dropbox is identical to what the Pineapple is. You want to do Wi-Fi attacks on there? You can. But you also have a full-on attack platform where you can launch other tools outside of the modules that were already built in to it. It's kind of this perfect combination of a couple different Hack5 tools. And it's one of those things that teaches you a lot as you build it. So I love Hack5 for what they've done. They've paved a huge road, and if you ask Cosmo, I say it all the time, like, they're the reason we can stand where we are today and say this is what we do, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Because they went through and took that skepticism of we're hackers, but we're doing it for good. But
also, Machine Man said that we use stuff like it at work, but not for the militia. So it's not only for hackers; it can be used for normal IT people as well to automate things. So he says like the Squirrel for automatic VPNs, the Pineapple for VPN wireless, and the Sharkjack for basic internet testing, stuff like that. So it's not only for the militia side as well. It's like both sides.
Oh, you're right. I even used my Ducky. I used to work with some school districts. One of the first jobs I got, civilian side in IT, was working with the school district. A couple of them actually, and I would use my Ducky as an automatic update because I knew exactly what it needed to do. Just tested it a couple times, fine-tuned its delays, all that stuff, because there were some slower machines, and then it worked. I'd plug it in, go do what I was doing, come back, pull it out, be good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what I worked on a little script to enroll devices with the rubber ducky into our management, so
Awesome.
I used it for that, like automating the little stuff that could save time if you're working on some big projects like enrolling a bunch of laptops.
For those people who are also getting into this, I know you can always look at the Kali Linux tools and all the parrot tools, and they're super cool to look at, but some of the most useful knowledge you're ever going to learn is how actual networks work internally. If you don't know anything about Active Directory, or if you just know the vaguest of topics, what it is, I suggest digging in deep to what Active Directory is, how that network works. Single sign-on is another cool area that you can kind of abuse sometimes with tools like Responder and stuff like that. Yeah. It's I mean, that right there is a treasure trove of information that whenever you actually get into your networking side, when you become, a desktop tech, a help desk technician, those are the type of things that you see a lot, that you'll actually be able to interact with. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you work for a large company and they have a security team, if you try to run any tools on their network, or you try to plug in any unregistered device, you will have several very angry phone calls and emails. So do not do that. But as somebody who's worked with, smaller businesses that don't have anything to do with IT, we're talking 1 to 2 man IT teams that I've been a part of, and those sorts of areas where that security relies on you, it's okay to test to a capacity. Don't push too far, because the moment that you push too far, it becomes less about let me find a vulnerability and a lot easier for them to justify, no, he's trying to hack us.
Yeah.
So once again, it goes back to what I was talking about before. If you can, ask for permission first. It's very often a good way to go for it. If you ask for permission and they turn you down, don't feel bad, because you offered to do them a service and they are not willing to listen.
Yeah.
Whatever happens at that point is their own fault. You can't be responsible for it. If you ask and they shoot you down, it's them.
No, I mean, that's weird, man.
Oh. I want to ask you guys
something. Drink.
Then you get a drink? What's going on?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So, we talked about hacker culture and all this other stuff. We brought up Mr. Robot a couple times. How do you guys feel about the portrayal of hacker culture now, like, with the media that's going on? So, like, Mr. Robot's a huge example of it. We've got video games like Watch Dogs, stuff like that. How do you guys feel about it? Do you feel it's actually being portrayed accurately? Do you feel like it's giving people false hope in certain things and what it is supposed to be and what it isn't?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people still think of it as, if you say hacker, you're malicious all the time. Like, people still have that same idea, like they don't see the other side of it.
Yeah, it's very portrayed maliciously. I think it's also very just straight up inaccurate of how they portray hacking 98% of the time. I think, except for a few exceptions, which is fine because I know it's Hollywood and they're trying to make it look interesting. Because most of the time when we're hacking, we're either Googling or just waiting for a scan to finish, like waiting for something to finish brute forcing, etc. So, I mean, I understand from an entertainment perspective to take hacking and make it look as something that's really cool and entertaining, which it is. It's fun as you're doing it as like a user level, but to have people watch it, understand what you're doing, being able to entertain themselves and enjoy it, I can understand how that can be more difficult. By taking on that more malicious perspective in the entertainment industry, I feel as if that's the kind of default way to make it look more entertaining, by making it seem more, I guess, evil to bring more charisma into it. But regardless, it is still very inaccurate. It's still very something that is, I feel as if it's almost like stereotypical, right? When you think of a hacker, you're thinking the anonymous mask, you're thinking the black hoodie, sitting in the dark with their RGB keyboards. So I think it's very important to understand that there's a good and a bad to almost everything, right? The skill set of hacking is just a tool. The person behind it is like what's important, and basically it's going to be the cause of the effect. So I guess my very long-winded answer to your question is, it's just very inaccurate, and it's very, like, I guess, stereotypes. I think people need to understand, as Adam was saying, the more ethical perspective behind it.
Right. And it's also not even just like not just like a hobby. It's kind of like a mindset.
Yeah.
Like, why does that thing work and why does it not work? And it just goes deeper from there.
You sound like us debugging code sometimes. It works. Why?
Why does this not work?
But I agree with you guys. I do feel like there's still some negative stigma about it because people want that action movie to be, like, let's include something that's a very scary threat to most people, but let's put it in a way that actually, like, will be actionable and something that people will want to see, that we can sell that next blockbuster hit and something that relates to them. Because everybody's had their identity stolen or knows somebody who had, done by, hacksaws and stuff like that.
Mm.
So why not make the next Bond villain this super amazing hacker, or the next Fast and Furious, villain trying to stop the family? Like some elite hacksaw and stuff like that. Because it's a name that's thrown around, or I say name, it's a title that's thrown around so often nowadays. But I also think it's a really good thing too. The reason I say it is because Mr. Robot, they could have taken it the same way they've done every Hollywood approach. And they even, in season 1, kind of took a tongue-in-cheek, like, slap at the way that hackers are usually portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
When they were watching the movie Hackers, during one of the episodes, they talked about how they've never seen a singing virus in their life, and they've never seen any all fancy visual, user interface, and they called that out very much. But Mr. Robot's one of those shows that kind of inspires people. I don't want to say to start hacking, but it really catches that interest. It's that hook that gets the fish's lip. The thing that scares me about that, though, is that can go one of two ways. You look at Mr. Robot's hacks, and you realize that the reason his hacks look so easy is because he's got so much knowledge behind it. There's so much prep. There's so much that goes into it that they kind of cut out to make the action of the show stand out more. But, I mean, the Mr. Robot box we did today, the reason that's so fun, because it's tiebacks to the show. It's callbacks to it. It's inspiration for people to go through. I've mentioned Darkness Diaries today. I mean, you hear stories like that. That's some of the stuff that I listen to when I'm not, I'm not active doing anything. I'll be at work. My job currently is away from IT. That was part of my step away that I was talking about earlier. But stuff like that draws inspiration for people and kind of pushes them forward. It gives them some sort of tie back. It gives them that superhero persona that makes them want to do that. I mean, you have athletes who talk about, like, oh, I work out in my Superman t-shirt because it makes me feel like I can do anything, stuff like that. Well, I program listening to Mr. Robot. No, I personally don't, because it makes me feel like I can take on the world and this, that, and the third. Like, it's good inspiration, but it can draw false, I think, identities towards what hacking is, which is sad.
Yeah. I had to play that Mr. Robot theme song in the CTF today.
It really get them pumped up.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of led to, like we were talking about before, there's positives and negatives, but one of the things I've seen is a lot of people nowadays, they're coming in, there's two separate groups. It's either those who really have an interest in it and want to do that, the boring stuff, the individual study, where you're not hanging out with your friends, you're not doing this, you're learning about these different topics that really, like, kind of make you fall asleep a little bit. It confuses you, it makes you angry. But they're really pushing through it. Those are the people I like to see. Those are the people who come in and are fully willing to admit, no, nothing, but I want to. I want to be that. And then there's other people who come in and say, like we've talked about before, I slap Kali Linux on a laptop and call myself a hacksaw.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment they're questioned or they're asked to participate in something and they fail, there's questions, obviously. Everybody's going to have questions because, you said you could do this, but now you're so far from it. Like, we've got to know, like, are you blowing smoke? And those are the type of people that I'm seeing as a negative coming into the community.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, I started off as kind of a little cocky dude myself, and it took me getting put in my place to really tie down and start learning things properly. Because I talked about it earlier, I had kind of my collection of puzzle pieces that fit into these very specific holes, and, it took till later for me to adapt and grow and make my own puzzle pieces in a way. I guess is the best way to say it, where I had an understanding where, oh, this one thing didn't work. Well, it's close, so why not, change it a little bit. Exactly. So JT right here said, learn something new every day and you'll never be bored. That is true. What we mentioned in the CTF, trying new challenges and stuff like that, areas that we never touched before.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, right there.
Yeah, actually I can't say because it's part of part of the CTF. I was gonna say a part of it, but I kind of oopsies.
So you being our new, go ahead.
Part of the PHP shell part of it. That was something I learned new. I never messed around with that.
Oh yeah, like reverse shells and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PHP reverse shell that goes.
I never like did one of those. I mean, I've messed around with reverse shells like on the rubber duckies and stuff, but never from a web perspective.
Yeah.
So Adam, as our newer guy, you might have to ask a question real quick.
Sure thing.
Before getting into this, what media did you like? Did you kind of, because you said you watched Mr. Robot? What other media did you mix in that involved stuff like that, and how did it change the way you looked at the community? Did it give you any ideas of what it was supposed to be like versus what it wasn't, or?
So I mean, first, I wasn't involved in like any communities. Obviously, when I was in grade school or whatever, and then I watched Mr. Robot. Then I started looking at like Twitter. They have a bunch of good stuff on there that like there's basically like a new vulnerability every day that I see on Twitter. I saw that Reddit was another big media for like hacking and stuff, and then once I got into like the discords and the communities, that's where I really got to like start like talking to people, and that's where it really got like interesting and fun because it's not like you're by yourself. There's a ton of other people that have the same exact interests as you.
Oh yeah.
And it's really fun just sharing knowledge and having fun with it.
All right.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I really do. Again, I actually, you know what? Okay, sorry. Shameless plug with the how I got into hacking video. With another plug again about how I got into hacking video. I was kind of talking about in that video about how I got into hacking and I was just a hacker, right? I never knew about the community in hacking. I never knew what DEF CON was. I didn't know who Kevin Mitnick was. I didn't know about Hack5, John Hammond, Network Chuck, etc., etc., etc. I just knew how to hack. I was just that kid who could hack, right? As I got more involved into the scene of the community of pop culture, of hacking, I felt more welcome, right? Because I was able to find a community of people who had the same interests as me. And now having this YouTube channel, having this Discord server, this company where we can unite a collective group of hackers who love to learn, who love to grow and benefit and just work with each other and have fun with it. I think that's just amazing to me. And also I was talking to Darren and I asked him about why the rubber ducky, why land turtle, why the silly names with it, and he told me it's supposed to be fun. Hacking is supposed to be like a fun community, a fun way to learn and introduce yourself to being able to break things and figure out how these things work. So I think that's great, dude. And being the fact that you were able to find a community with us and the other members of this community, I think is just really cool.
For sure.
And think about having the same interest with the same people, like all in one place. Because it's not hard to make friends. Like I think this is my third day here, and I already met all you guys, and we're already laughing together in the Minecraft thing. All that. So it doesn't take long.
Yeah. And actually, let me ask you this too. As sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Matthew.
No, go ahead.
Like with entering, because I know Matthew asked you about how much you learned, but finding a community like this, right? Because I don't have the perspective of you guys, right? You guys are coming into a server full of some very experienced people. Some people who are just heard about hacking. So what is it like being just a person who's just entered the community to finally kind of find, I guess, a collective group of people who have the same interests as you?
I'll let Adam take this first too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's amazing to me. Normally people are kind of when they're at the top, they don't want you to join them, but everyone here, like, they, like, accept you and they bring you along and they show you the ropes and stuff. And, like, you guys, I used to just watch your YouTube videos and never really, like, talk to you, obviously. And then one day I'm like, you know what? Let me just join the Discord server and talk to Cosmo a little bit. And then here I am.
Yeah.
Like the hacking community is like, they, like, accept you and they bring you along.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. For those of you who are here, by the way, if you're not in the Discord server, jump in. Like, that's the best way to talk to us. We hang out there almost every day. If we're not in the voice chat, we're very easily reachable through a ping or just through general chat. I check it every couple of hours just to make sure, Never know when the question's there, or, when the new person's been welcomed. We usually try to get to everybody to make sure, we say hello, let them know we notice them, that, stuff like that. But I guess going into my approach, I was on Discord for a while with a couple different groups. And I would like to say every group is the way that Cosmodium has been, where we open up, accept new people. But a lot of times it seems to feel like I found my group who's knowledgeable. They're either on the same level with me or we're comfortable in our areas where we're a decent group together. And they're not really willing to open up to other people. Sometimes you have to weasel in a little bit to get into those groups. When I was younger, that was the hardest part. I remember the first time I found out about SQL injection. I swore up and down that I could break anything that had an SQL injectable vulnerability because I was using that SQL map. And this goes back to what I was talking earlier, that real quick being humble, I got proved I was wrong real fast, and I begged for day and night for probably about 3 days before they put up a virtual machine. And we jumped in this big group chat, and basically all of them showed me and explained to me SQL syntax, how to detect certain things, how to do this, and that's my path on understanding that specific topic. Some communities aren't as open. Sometimes you have to, be there. Not everybody's willing to just open up so easily and say, here's what we know. And that kind of comes from both being kind of closed off and it being a mindset of that way, but another thing is also scared. Like, what happens if I give the wrong information to the wrong person? What happens if I teach that one guy who's not as open to the same ethical ideas that we are? Like, what happens if I teach somebody how to use cross-site scripting? Maybe I improve on what they already know, and suddenly they go to hack something. Well, now I've just armed somebody to go and do this. And sometimes that sucks. But to say that because there's a chance of that happening to lock off the community is kind of a bad thing. It's going to prevent any knowledge from getting out, and it's going to prevent there from being as many people who are as passionate about security and people being safe as there should be.
Yeah.
But the community itself, when you open up, I mean, I've mentioned it several times tonight, finding that community increases your skill, it increases, your drive for it.
Yeah.
The competition, it sounds stupid, but, like, me and Cosmo, when we hang out, it's not just about, like, oh, I know this, he knows that. Sometimes there's a little competition in there. It's fun just to have something like a goal to push towards, because not all the time that goal is obvious, or not all the time that goal is reachable in that moment. You just kind of have to, like, fill it out, find something, like, short-term goals. Those are always nice. Keep those short-term goals mixed in with your long.
Almost definitely.
Exactly. So AC got it, like, right on the mark.
Yeah.
So the thing about hackers is that we're all nerds, and that half the time we don't really have people to talk to about our obscure interests. So when somebody says they're interested, it gets so excited. It's exactly what it is. I mean, when I met Cosmo and we started digging it, because I'm nobody who's, like, I'm not some super elite. No, I don't think any of us are, but we all have interest in above average skill, and we want to build up on it. But, when you find someone who's got that, you can talk to them about it. You can open up. You can tell them about it. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. I grew up with a family who, hunting and fishing was their entire thing. I still do that. I mean, that was a thing that we did as a family, but technology wasn't a big deal in our house. It was something that was very limited. And so when I took an interest in it and I got to the point where I am now, I can't really explain it to them. Like, they don't understand it because they don't have even the basic understanding of what technology is, and it kind of feels empty telling them about these achievements that they know nothing about.
Because you come to a point where instead of kind of being able to tell and share, you're more kind of just explaining a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
But the thing about, like, again, with the community is like they already have, or at least the vast majority of people already have that fundamental knowledge, and the people who don't know and the people who do know are completely willing to help those who don't know. So when you come into a community like that, it's a lot easier to kind of find people and share and talk about certain concepts or how you're feeling about things like that, because they already have that kind of understanding for you. And even all of us were new. Like, all of us have been new to hacking. All of us, there was a point for all of us where we didn't know anything about like computers or anything like that. So when we come to find people in an open community for hackers, I feel as if it's very welcoming and rewarding.
I agree. I mean, I fully agree. Little open call mic real quick. For those of you who are new, because I'm seeing we got a couple more people than we did earlier. If you guys want to come in, tell some stories, jump in here like Adam is, like we are right now talking. If you've got something like that, let us know. Jump in that Discord, get your voice out here, tell us some funny stories, tell us some stuff that you think, the community should hear. Tell us, weird stuff. Like, that's what we want. That's what kind of makes this community fun, is just hearing about weird things that make no sense. Weird things that we found that are funny because, obviously to us, the security holds our way in the open, but to some people, it's the most locked down Fort Knox thing they've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
But come in here. If you got stories, let us know, either on the Discord or here in the chat, and we'll get you set up on the Discord server to come in here. I know Cosmo's pinned the link to the Discord server, so, if there was a reason to join, now's the get here and tell people stories. I mean, that's awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys while we see then if anyone else joins.
All right.
What do you think companies could start doing to kind of better protect themselves against cyber attacks?
Monty, you got it first.
So, working at these different, I've worked on companies that are big, I've worked in companies that are small. Like I said, I got to do IT for the military. I think that the first thing that a company can do to improve their security is first and foremost realizing that just because your service is so obscure that nobody hardly has any interest or knowledge of what's going on, that doesn't mean that you're not a target. That doesn't mean that you're not... That doesn't mean that you aren't vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but you are always a target. No matter what you are, and you may not be a target because of the service you provide. I mean, there's hackers all the time who come in, who do simple web scanning, and because you happen to meet criteria that their stuff is on, they'll hack you because it's fun. They're script kiddies. They're new to it. You may think like, the damage they're doing can still be damning.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing that you need to do is first realize, like, no matter how obscure your business is, no matter what it is, oh, we don't do data processing on our website, that doesn't mean that you still don't have something outward-facing that couldn't be attacked. And even internally.
Yeah.
My current business has that big problem where they don't understand computers. They know that I do, but they don't understand what it's like. Yes, they do need to stop using Windows 7.
Bring that up.
Thank you so much. For those who are not aware of why that's such a big deal, I'm hoping all of you know, Windows 7 has ended its life cycle a long time ago, and there's still
stopped support for it.
that were actively outwardly known.
I was just about to bring that up on Cosmo's question. One thing is they need to like stay updated. Like a lot of companies out there, even small or big, most of them have like outdated stuff. Like this one place I walked into, the computer was in sleep mode or something, and I saw the Windows XP box bounce around.
Wait, I have a question. Did it hit the corner?
It did not.
Dang.
It never hits the corner when I watch.
Oh man. Maybe next time.
And the thing is, I'm not just like I'm not just like, oh, I could hack that. I'm mad at them. Mad at them for leaving that big opportunity there. I kind of just want to do it just to get back at them for being like, this is what you deserve for leaving a Windows XP box right in front of me. That should not be a thing anymore. It's 2021, people.
So the other thing that we got to look at too, and I think the non-technical environments to look at, is the fact that in just about every company I've worked part of, they kind of baby their users in the fact that they don't know what's going on. I think there should be a more focused training. Like you always hear about big companies like Microsoft and that's doing their security training, and every company has an HR video that tells you don't click on phishing links. Like, we got to do more than that.
Yeah.
People have got to understand what a computer is. Exactly. First line defense is the users. Most hackers are due to the user. Yeah, most hacks are due to the users letting them in. That is exactly true. That's what I was just about to get to. They are letting their users be ignorant, and they're expecting a team of 2 to 3 people, sometimes 5 people if you're lucky in these smaller companies. They're in charge of 150, 200, 300 people who don't understand computers. They let them get away with, well, she's a bit of an older person, she'll never quite understand it. Okay, well, if that's the case, let's lock down there. Let's lock down. If that's what we're going to tell them, is that we're letting them get away with certain things, well, let's now mitigate the potential attack surface.
Yeah.
But for the people, there should never be an excuse why one person doesn't understand at least the basics. Everybody should automatically know. A USB drive laying around is never a good thing.
Yeah.
A random phone charger is not always a random phone. A sudden additional Wi-Fi signal called guest, or suddenly you're connected to your home Wi-Fi that you shouldn't be. That should be stuff that people look out for. And I think the work environment needs to change. We're not just tech guys over here spitting gobbledygook that you don't know. A lot of the times when I try to explain people stuff, it's not me coming to, it's so much, throw this at you, and use all this fancy. I want them to understand. So I'll ask them questions. Do you know what this is? Do you know what that is? Do you know why you won't do that? Why you shouldn't do this? Why this is considered, top security practice?
Yeah.
And the struggle that I kind of have, I get mad at people for this, is when you talk about all of these things, like, your password doesn't have an exclamation, like, they just blow it off. They're like, yeah, and then they come back complaining that their bank account just got hacked because they had a unsecure password. Like,
yeah,
they blow it off, and then it comes right back to bite them.
Well, it's because they have rules that have been given to them that they don't understand, and I think that's where the problem is. You need to understand the rules to understand why they exist. Rules and laws very similar to each other. You ever look at Florida's laws, you'll find something weird or two. I think it's illegal to own more than 3 alligators bathtub in Florida or something like that. And it seems weird, but there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
2 is the maximum safe number that we can allow in bathtubs.
Oh yeah.
Now you can have 2 in the bathtub and 1 in the shower, and that's okay. But the moment you add that 3rd one in, we've got a problem.
Oh yeah. That's why I had to put it in the toilet instead.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I feel like they don't understand the rules that they are following, why those rules are there. It's kind of just, do this and you will stay safe, but they don't understand why.
Yeah. I think, if I were to answer this question as well about, how companies can protect themselves, and I will make sure to not include a shameless plug in this answer. I think I think it really derives down to the people, that not just having that base security knowledge, but I feel like it's also having like the people. And I know John. Nope, no, I'm not going. Nope. No more plugs. No more plugs.
You're not plugging you. You're not plugging you.
Okay.
You're plugging John Hammond.
There you go. John Hammond. All right.
He's an amazing security researcher.
John Hammond is amazing. He really is. But he was talking about how it really lies within the people, hiring people with those skill sets. And I really think, to add on to that, it really has to do with, like, how do I say this? I feel like you need to understand, like, what the hacker is thinking about. And one of the fundamental, I guess, industries that do that is pen testing or red teaming. I feel as if companies need to start really investing more of their attention into security as a way, to protect themselves when they're, doing something as important as they are. Because I know, for example, and I know Machine Man was kind of talking about this too about the less enterprise and small businesses. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but small businesses are a lot more targeted than a lot of these, corporate level companies. The only reason why they get so much attention is because they are, these corporate level companies and they're getting more coverage. But, these small businesses are so vulnerable and so open that any hacker can basically hack a lot of these small businesses that don't have a huge investment within their security systems. So I think it's really time that people start investing in that knowledge, investing in their people, and finding, like, I guess, good, smart, affordable, strategic plans to make sure you can keep that security, at least that, like, basic levels of security that is needed within the industry, because people are trusting these services to keep their information safe, and if they can't uphold to that, then it definitely raises an eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Back on the users thing that JT brought up. Wasn't there like one with Twitter, which is kind of surprising? Like, you'd think that they'd be on their game about securing users. Wasn't the one like Twitter employee let them in and they did like that Bitcoin scam with all the like Bill Gates' Twitter account and stuff? Like
Yeah.
double your Bitcoin or whatever.
Send me all your Bitcoin in this amount of time, and the amount you send me, I'll send you double back. Like,
Yup.
oh, that was great.
One Twitter employee just let them right in, and you'd think that one of like a big tech company like that would have it down, but nope. Back on the thing where like nope, nothing is ever 100% secure. There's always something vulnerable.
Yeah.
Cosmo made a big point when he was talking about those smaller companies being the target. I'm not going to tell too much, like I said, about what I do now, but a lot of our customers that we deal with are rich people who've got way too much money to blow. And our job is revolving around dealing with the way that rich people spend their money in things that have nothing to do with computers. It's so far from being in computers. I think we have one computer in the office that floats around the different desk, and it's to look up images for different art stuff. So a little bit of it kind of a little hint on what's going on. It's mostly like art type stuff is what they're paying for. Just a specific type of art that's kind of harder to do. They process these types of things. They bring in items for us to take care of. They won't see for another 2 years, but they put down these down payments of, 3,000, 4,000, and their credit card system that we have in store runs off of our just straight Ethernet, which is a common practice. The problem is that there's no segmentation of the network. There is no security in it. If you go in our attic, there's a modem. That modem has cables hooked up in the same cables that are hooked up in the back, the same ones that lead up to our credit card process. Trying to explain to my boss that this is not a good thing. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand the impact. He doesn't look at it that way. He doesn't understand how dangerous it could be, what the actual attack surface of it is. And it's sad to see. Like, that he was given this warning, not like I'm the end-all be-all on security or anything, but by somebody who has spent time in this field and has been there for quite a while. And, I've got my certifications, CompTIA and all that stuff. But just him kind of turning that down, it makes me feel bad that at some point there could be a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. He's just not listening. They're not listening. That just kind of points out the mindset that I'm referring to. What Cosmos mentioned is that these smaller businesses that have nothing to do with IT are the most targeted.
Yeah. Because they're easy targets.
What's up?
So how do you think your coworkers are on like a security level, like as JT was talking about with the users first. First line of defense.
That's where it gets a little difficult because the environments that I'm referring to with, security first, understanding that basics first involves the people like finance or HR who are on the computer. They're, doing Word documents, they exchange emails. Almost all of the day is spent on some sort of Microsoft product. Right. Problem is these guys, they don't, because it's art stuff and a lot of it's done through reference sheets that usually aren't on the internet. We usually have them sent to us either through magazines, through other sources. It's usually not like we don't have devices like that floating around, so it's hard for me to say, hey, you have to know security to make sure everything is up to date and we're not going to be attacked when there's no computers in the environment for them to know anything about, to how to use and everything. I feel like it's mainly two people in the entire company who have that daily connection with computers where those are our big vulnerabilities that they're not really taking seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
What about any past experience with users? Have you had any big mishaps?
Yeah. So the big thing that I've seen is people who are locked in that idea. It's usually an older generation. Those who weren't interested in technology then and for sure as hell aren't going to change their. For them, they can work inside of an application, but as far as the bigger picture of what that computer does, they don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. They never will. They will go to their deathbed knowing how to open up an Excel spreadsheet, and that will be the end of it. I think the mindset that they need to adapt is the same one that we see within the security community, and something that we're kind of lacking. People need to learn that there are people who know more, and they don't need to look. How to put this? They need to understand that there is information they don't know, but it isn't you know. Sometimes they're going to be told, you don't understand this, and you need to.
Right.
It's going to be confusing. None of it is ever just simple. But the problem is that we allow so much technology in our lives that it doesn't make sense for everybody to be so ignorant at how it works. Our phones have so much capabilities. All of our jobs are almost now take place on a computer. Working from home, like that, for sure. You're issued a company computer into your own home now.
Yeah.
People need to understand more of what they're just allowing to be simplistic, shiny devices in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody needs to know how to, create a database, how to do this, how to do that. But knowing that if something breaks, here's how I can Google it to figure out a fix. Or if there is an attack, what should I do? Not just call my IT team, but what should be the lead up, that preparation period before you do that? What information should you have ready for them to do something?
Right.
And what can you do to limit your own kind of a target space for the company?
Right. I think you were talking about talking to the older people about what they're doing is not only for
only what?
Their own sake. It's for other people's. It's for their own sake as well. You don't want them to get hacked. It's not like you just don't want the company to get hacked. You don't want them to get hacked. They lose stuff at their that they personally own. If you work from home and your computer gets attacked, it's not just the company that's at stake. It's your own personal stuff as well.
Yeah.
For me, it's not necessary because every company tells you, you never mix your personal data with the company's computers. You don't sign into Facebook. You don't sign into this. Of course, there's always the receptionist who's going to get bored and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those sort of things are expected. I think the biggest problem is not the people who are going to mix their personal data. I think it's the people who are, you've got Susan, who's in finance, who's been there for the last 18 years, edging ripe age, and she sees that there's a separation between what IT does and what her job is. She works on a computer every day, but she's only working spreadsheets or QuickBooks or this and that. And there's an IT guy, so that's his responsibility. His responsibility is to make sure that the network doesn't get attacked. But what she doesn't understand is there isn't a separation of those duties. The moment you access anything on a computer, especially stuff that's sensitive, it becomes your responsibility. Right. Not altogether. Your job is not to make sure the routers are secured. Your job is not to make sure credentials are packed tight. Like, that's our job. But as the person who controls that, you're the person receiving emails from out. You may go to the bathroom and find a flash drive with a cool little animation on it, or Panda Bear flash drive, those ones. Like, it's your job to know what is and isn't secure on your system. Because at the end of the day, as bad as it sounds, when you're the one who caused that attack, you are still responsible for that.
Yeah. I guess it kind of goes to the security concept of people being the weakest link within the security system, exactly. Especially with social engineering attacks. As JT mentioned, phishing attacks as well are very common, and it's about getting. I guess what one of the main inspirations for starting Cosmodium is these basic security fundamentals that I believe that every single person should know. Strong passwords, also, separate passwords through using some sort of password manager, detecting basic detecting phishing emails, not to click on things that look sketchy without verifying it first. All of those wishy-washy, knowledgeable, concepts, I feel like, again, are the type of things that people should be able to know and detect. And especially if you're entering a corporate field or like some sort of industry, I feel like there should be training for the workers outside of what they're just supposed to do in order to have training for not plugging in a USB drive, being able to detect social engineering tactics. Just those types of things I feel like are, the types of trainings that should start being introduced into the corporate field.
Well, in the perfect world, that everybody would know those things. Right now, when you look at how data is actually stolen, what data is stolen, the methods, it's all kind of those low-hanging things, those low-hanging fruits that doesn't take much knowledge to do.
Oh, yeah.
Sending a phishing email with a corrupted site or whatnot, to get you, or even a fake login, you don't even need any exploit just to social engineer someone to do that. That's where a lot of that data is stolen. I mean, JT talked about it. Like, that's what it is in his experience that he's had. It sounds like he's got a pretty deep career and everything he's talking about. If we had that knowledge shared amongst everybody, and I'm not talking just the bare minimum, HR, watch this video, nobody's going to pay attention to, you got to do it yearly, just so off. Like, I think there needs to be an actual understanding of what this stuff is. And I feel like a lot of what's actually going on, those major attacks would go away. Suddenly, the attacks that are actually being used and the things that we're going to see in the news are stuff where it's actually vulnerabilities being found. It's actual, real cybersecurity problems that we're seeing. And not just people succumbing to... Exactly, see? That would make... Yes, as somebody who's done his time on the help desk bench, it would definitely... there just needs to be a greater understanding of those things and not just the basics. I feel like so many companies are fine with that. Well, legally we can't be held responsible now because we've given them their annual training. We're good to go. It's just stuff like that. Because for those who don't know, who work in company environments, those videos aren't actually meant to be 100% like, let me teach you something. It's meant to be so they're insurance. They get discounts on insurance and stuff like that. Because a lot of companies, when you start into those Fortune 500s, will have kind of like a hacking insurance to make sure that, like, if anything goes down, as long as you cover these practices and you played this specific video that the company required, you are in qualifications for receiving this insurance to help you in case an attack does happen. That's what those videos are. They're very beneficial when it comes to the basics for somebody who knows nothing, but for that larger attack platform, the things that when people are starting to get creative, they start to personalize those attacks. That's when it starts to be a little harder. That's when people should start, looking in more.
Yeah.
I mean, like someone there's a lot of examples of. So for those, if any of you know about the Pegasus malware, that one's a real good example of how phishing really, it's a gateway to what an actual hack is and what it can be. Because a lot of times that's what it is. It's just meant to be a way into the network. It's your first spot in a pivot. Pegasus malware was real bad about the governments who used it. In Mexico, really, it got bad. They would send stuff like, oh my gosh, your child so-and-so has been sent to this hospital. Here's all the information you need to know about it. In that moment, oh my goodness, my child is in the hospital. Something horrible has happened. And somebody has conveniently, that I don't have the number saved, texted me with all this information that I needed to know.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of times your adrenaline's going to be rushing, stuff like that. It's going to hit you, and it's that moment of, I've got to act now. But sometimes taking that step back is what's going to make it all the clearer. If they told you this is the hospital they're going to, don't use that link. Just call them directly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're creating simple avenues they want you to jump into that, like, they're putting you in the spot. If it's too good to be true, or it seems like it has to be acted upon now, usually that's when you know it's a sign of a bad situation. When there's a sense of urgency, or there's a sense of, if you don't do it now, you'll miss out. Those are the things that people need to look out for. But all they're hearing is, oh, somebody's asking for information, but we don't do that in the company, so that's a no-no. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's scratching the surface, and it's really pathetic to see that that's what we consider security training for the average person. We should teach people those signs of what to look for. People trying to put you in situations where you have to act now or it's too late. By the way, for those who haven't seen the messages in the chat, if you have any questions, you have anything you want to add to it, you got stories that are, stories that'll, scare us a little bit, seeing some of these hacks or whatnot, put them in the chat. Jump in the Discord. You want to come on here in the stream, tell other people your story, let's hear it. Let us come join the community. Come jump in. What we want. I mean, we just had JT jump in, and he was welcome to the server now. So yeah, come in, tell your stories, hang out. If you want to get in here and talk and share your opinion, let's hear it.
For sure.
So I just saw Vince just now. You posted in there about wanting a legit IT job. Another thing that we're doing on the server right now, we'll help people with IT, with getting your entry-level position. We'll help you set up your resume. If you want to spend a little time and a little bit of money, we can get you set on an IT path, start getting qualified for certification, stuff like that. We're an educational company where we want to teach you guys this stuff, but we're more than willing to go above and beyond to get you to that next step.
Oh, yeah.
If getting an IT job is what we consider to be the next best learning platform, we will happily do what we can to get you there. I mean, if we work with you, if you need to hang out with us, let us see what you're like, let us see what you're doing. You want to put us down as a reference? Have people call us. I'll tell them as honest as I can be. This is the type of person he has. This is what I see good about this person. For you guys who don't know, the Discord link is up there in the top if you guys want to jump in. But any other questions anybody's got? Any topics we want to switch over to? And
I think we could, unless if anyone from the chat wants to join in, we can kind of bring this thing to a closing. But I know you guys seem to enjoy this. I think we can probably do a lot more of these going forward. If you guys want to come in, tell your stories, talk about current events, about security and such, I feel like that would be a really cool thing we could do, kind of podcasted type of thing if we want to. So let us know in the comments in the chat about what you guys would like to see out of these types of streams. But yeah, I think we can kind of bring this to a closing. Any final remarks from you guys?
I think we've hit on the mark of what we're looking for. I mean, we want more people in here. We want more people to be a part of this. So, if you guys say you want this to be a more common thing, we would love to have more people here. We would love to have this discussion grow bigger and see, other points of view. There are people who have more experience than us, or older than us, or people who've seen this field evolve so much more than we ever will.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talking to some people in here, them talking about computers being old punch cards for a while, it took me a while to wrap my head around it. No, you're lying. There's no way.
Yeah.
But there's people who've been around since then, and they've really seen, like, we've seen little change since we got here, but there's been monumental change that we won't ever know until we've been in this field for years. And those are the stories we want. Those are the things we want to hear about.
Yeah.
How has this changed? What was it like before? Is there things that are still, like, do we still have users even from back then who are still in that same ignorant slump of what IT really is because it's just not their thing?
How about you, Ed?
Security Plus.
You go ahead.
Sorry, looking over in the chat, Vince said he's going for Security Plus. It's a great certification. It's a great place to be. A good starting point if that's where you're at. We've also got plenty of resources for that sort of study stuff too. So if you guys ever want to come in and you got certifications you want to get ready for, we've got material for that. We've got people who are knowledgeable in that side in Server Plus 2, but that one, to be honest, doesn't really ever get brought up, or it's not really a head turner. But
yeah,
for some reason you want it, we've got it. But come in, join the community, guys. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's really what we're looking for.
We're not advertising the community because we want to get famous or anything like that. We're advertising the community because better friends.
Yeah,
we want these people to be hanging around. Like, that's the stuff we're looking for. Like, we're not advertising because we want to hit 10,000 subscribers. Come be friends. Hang out. Let's do stupid stuff together. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah, no, because like when I was first getting into cybersecurity, I talked about this earlier. Like, I was just a hacker. There was no one. I didn't have any like security friends that I could hack together with, or I don't know, code with or anything like that. At least growing up. But as we started developing this community, it has been so much more eye-opening, more fun. It's just been a lot more of an experience because you have people you can come to now. Like, hey, I remember with Adam in here, all three he was working on the CTF and we were able to help him out. And I feel like that would have been a lot more fun than you just doing it straight up. Am I wrong in saying that?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, like you guys helping me out when I got a little stuck like that. Just kept pushing me and pushing me. It was perfect.
I think we just want to come together and really this conversation we're having here. Not everybody's going to agree on what's going on. Everybody's going to have the same views, and everybody's going to have the same background of security standpoint, or even just the normal IT view of the world. But we want people to share those experiences. That's kind of what makes it more fun. I mean, I wouldn't ever know meeting a certain server because that topic didn't seem like anything would ever come up in my field. It didn't seem like something that it would be beneficial for me to learn because my job doesn't require me to know that right now. It's something I ever deal with, but it's been all the same, just as fun learning it, talking about it, sharing things, understanding weird things, and we want you guys to share your achievements too. If you are in the server, we have what's the channel called? Rep Yourself, or what is it?
Self promo.
Yes.
Self promo. We want you guys to come in there, promote what you've done, promote the things. It doesn't matter if it's as little as it is. Successfully installed Hallway for the first time. If you've just got your first Hack 5 tools, you've just completed your first box on Try Hack Me, share that. Show the community what you're doing. Show that growth so we can track that. That's the stuff that we're going to get excited.
Not even are we going to, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but not only we're going to track that and get excited for it, I also literally I'll scroll through there once I'm editing my videos, take a few clips and put it in the videos. I want people to see what you guys are doing. I think if you check the most recent 5 or 6 videos, I've been just throwing out what you guys have been doing onto the channel because I want people to see what you guys are doing. I want people to see your achievements outside of just the Discord, but people out in the public saying, hey, I did this. Hey, I finally was able to get the certification. This is my ethical hacker EDC compared to my ethical hacker EDC, what you guys carry in your backpacks instead of my backpacks. Right. I want this to be a more dynamic community. Go ahead.
I remember you talking Box of White Hat. You were talking about how you wanted to feature his stuff in your next video.
Yeah. I mean, this dude was dropping so much cool stuff I've never seen in like at least personally, like within like the cyber community, I'm like people need to see this. Like this is such a
Right.
cool concept. This is such a cool idea, and I want people to be able to see it. You know, I want people. I want
Right.
you guys to be able to throw your stuff out there, throw your achievements out there. So
And the
that's
thing
one of the
about
best ways we can do it.
yeah, the thing about that is, and that's only one person. Now, if you get like a whole group of people and everyone just is throwing stuff around, it just opens up so many doors and like shows you so many parts of it that you've never seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
It's yeah, the community's great, and we talked about White Hat. If, to be honest, if he would have joined, I probably never would have seen some of the proof of concept stuff that he's working on. I talked about the Mario script earlier that had the beef, you know, cross-site scripting stuff running in the back. That framework is really cool. If you guys haven't played with the beef framework at all, I do recommend it. But going back to some of the other communities that we get to hang out in, like that Tri-Hat community, I can't remember the name of the guy for the life of me. But one of his little scripts that he built and he set up to run on an SSH connection was a Tetris game that you had to beat to maintain your connection. Like little stuff like that doesn't seem destructive but gets super annoying. Like just trying to get to, like, picture you trying to hack the game of Tetris. You lose, your session's cut, jump back in. Now you have to beat a game of Tetris to be able to continue with your hack. And that's if he doesn't close down your shell mid-game.
Wow.
Stuff like that is just weird
That's
things
so
that
fun.
you don't see it being... Exactly. Like, it's hard to be mad when you're laughing so that somebody is really making you play Tetris in the middle of a King of the Hill game. Like, that's the stuff. Like, those are the memories that when I get done playing, like, I haven't played the King of the Hill game in, like, 5 months, and I still remember that game, like, yesterday, because stupid stuff like this, all these different scripts, and afterwards, when I asked him about it, he gave me the script, said, here's the code. He goes, my name's in it, I just asked that if you share it with anybody, let them know it was me who made it, and just leave the script as it is. He goes, at least put my name in it. You can edit the script to do whatever you want, but, like...
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's the community, it's just sharing of knowledge. It's not like, you know, like we're like isolating or kicking people out because it's just like, you know, us, but we want to share, we want to grow, we want to develop, we want to, you know, create together. I feel like that's one of the core concepts about having a community to be in when you're entering this type of field.
I think I saw it somewhere on Twitter. Someone tweeted that cyber criminals don't share and hackers share.
Yeah.
Well, because they benefit from that secret if they're the only one using that one exploit.
Right.
You know, they're the one benefiting. Real quick, I don't want to interrupt the discussion, but this is last call for questions. We are looking about ending it, out this stream. If you've got any last-minute questions, you got any stories you want to share, you know, drop it in real quick. If you've got anything to add to this, drop it in. Like, let's hear it. We've got a lot of great comments on liking the engagement. Real quick, hitting on Vince. Vince, you know, I said I was in the military. You said you're in the civil police. I wasn't in IT during the military. I had to seek out that opportunity. I made friends with the IT guys who were on base, and they got me certified. They got me my stuff. They were the ones who taught me it. They were the ones who gave me my opportunity to really experience it. Just because, like I know it was mentioned up here, just because your job is not directly IT does not mean you can take that opportunity to go on the side and take that learning into your own hands. Please, I mean, if you're in the military, there are so many benefits that where, like, even if it's not your job, they'll pay for your certifications. I haven't paid for a single one of mine because the military has been great about what supports you. If you have that opportunity, please take it. Talk with somebody. If your command doesn't know anything about it, go for it. And for those who are in law enforcement, who are police, and all these other different government contracts, there's stuff like that even outside of the military. You know, people who want to help, people who want to see more growth. I mean, yeah. Yes, so, let's see, and you talk to the IT guys. So what I would tell you to do is go, if you have an S6, go talk to your S6, look for your 25 Bravos, ask them about certifications being paid for. Talk to them about their CompTIA stuff. Usually what they'll do is they'll send you through a couple online classes, and you set up with a testing center where they pay for your voucher to take the course, and then they'll pay the upkeep fee for your certifications. For real, take advantage of that stuff while you've got it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for those who are working government, like I was saying, their certifications being paid for. classes for trainings. And I mean, even if you just get a weekend off and you want to head to Vegas in August, go to DEF CON and you're going to talk to more people than you care to count. And you're going to learn you never thought you would know.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a community out here who wants to teach people and wants that knowledge to be, open and out there.
Yeah. I mean...
Vince, if you join that Discord server, I'm Matzi. I don't know if you guys know that. I know mine's different in chat than it is in Discord. If you message me, I can help you get set up.
I believe he is in the
certification
Discord
stuff for the
server.
military.
I think his
And
name is
DEF CON is in August, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so CON's towards the beginning of August. But
all right, so I guess we can come to a closing here. So any final remarks, final questions as we kind of end this thing?
You people have been awesome. I've enjoyed talking with all of you. I'm loving seeing the people sharing their experiences, and not just us talking to you guys, but other people. I mean, Machine Man's been real good about, jumping in and telling people about this stuff and that, and talking that's the engagement we want. Not just us to you, but you guys amongst each other. It's been great, and I hope we get to see more of you guys in the Discord. Okay, cool. You're already in there. I look forward to talking to you guys. But we want to see you guys interact. We want that community. This is what we've been talking about this entire time. By all means, come become a community with us. Hang out with us. You got knowledge that you think you want to share with people, or you want to learn something, come here.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, so I do thank you guys for watching the stream, joining in, tuning in, and talking with us, and us being able to talk to you guys, because it's really cool to kind of actually hear you guys outside of, because I know you guys hear a lot from me, and you may hear a lot from the other people on this call throughout the Discord server. But I think it's really cool when we get to live stream and actually just be able to talk to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
AC 10 out of 10 to do this more often. All right, bet. So I'm glad to hear you guys kind of like this. So we will kind of create more of a schedule for this type of thing, and I guess start doing this. I do live stream every Friday. Right, again, we were talking about the what's it called, Codex Project. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining in. I think we're gonna, kind of end it here. But yeah, so I'll see you guys later. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and do that whole YouTube algorithm thing. And we will see you guys in the next stream, right?
Yeah. Hey, thank you all for coming out.
All right.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. And as always, happy hacking.